there's lots of stories that are starting to emerge of people being ripped off by taxis, and particularly in Auckland. Now, a pensioner from a small town in central Otago says she feels that she was fleeced after being charged more than $160 for a 20-minute taxi ride. She and her husband were visiting Auckland last month to see their daughter. They also bought tickets to Coldplay and The concerts, a couple of groovers, on Wednesday and Thursday respectively. Now, after The concert, they were in Auckland CBD and they were in Aotea Square, if you're familiar with that. If you're not, it's pretty much in the heart of, close to the heart of the city. Now, it was after 11 p.m, they wanted to get back to their daughter's home in Mount Roskill, which is not far at all. About, I don't know, less than 10 k's easily. Because they had an early flight in the morning to Dunedin. So they took a Crown cab. The driver said he did not know the road that they wanted to go to, so they spelt it out for him. He put it in his phone, and instead of the direct route, he went through Spaghetti Junction, which is the motorway, which seems a bit odd. But look, I mean, I know where he might have been turning off to get to Mount Roskill, depending on where that road was. So that in itself, to me, doesn't ring red flags. But what does is during the less than the 10K trip, the husband noticed that the meter was already on 80. The couple thought, oh, that's quite high. And also they did not display a small passenger service license, which is a legal requirement for all taxis and shuttles. Anyway, by the time they got there, the cost was about $145 or something, she said. Got an argument kind of ensued. And the driver said, it's metered, lady. There's the proof. It wasn't until the next morning when she checked her bank statement, she was charged $163.43 by Crown Cabs, averaging out to be just over $17 a kilometre. Now, there's lots more stories similar to that, but I won't leave my guest waiting on the line, and we can get to that after I've spoken to him. What the hell's going on? How do they get away with it? The Small Passenger Service Association spokesperson is Warren Quirke, and he's with me now. Warren, hello.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon.
There's lots of, sadly, there's more stories like that, Warren, and they are blatant ripping off at the customer. Do you believe that there are certain cabs or drivers at least that are targeting people like international visitors or out-of-towners?
Absolutely. This is happening. I get a lot of complaints of this nature, and it is one specific group of drivers. Following the amendments to the Land Transport Act in 2017 to allow rideshare to operate legally, there's now basically three types of providers of the service. You've got the rideshare, your Uber type platform.
Yep.
You've got your traditional taxis, like your normal branded companies that everyone's aware of, good reputations, good management. You ring them up and a cab turns up. And then you've got what we call these independent operators. Now, they're a bit of a byproduct from this legislation that wasn't properly considered in our view. And these guys basically operate without any managerial oversight from anyone, and the legislation around pricing and how that works is very, very weak, and it's not adhered to. So the rule around pricing now is that a driver must agree with the passenger the price of the fare prior to the trip taking off. Now, a lot of the time this doesn't happen. They can often have an argument at the end. But what a lot of these independent operators are doing now is they're actually using types of meters that they can manipulate. They can set the tariffs extremely high. They can download taxi meters on their smartphone apps.
What?
And they can have multiple different levels of tariff, like $3 a K, up to whatever they like, $20 a K, $25 a K. And they tend to make
sorry, Warren, sorry to stop you. So if it's $25 a kilometre, because this the one I was talking about worked out about $17 a K, does the person sitting in the back seat not even see this? They don't know this is happening?
Well, sometimes they do. They can sometimes see that ticking away. They might not realise it until the end how it's got to there. in that situation, the driver is supposed to have a fare schedule so that the person can make a judgment call on whether they want to take it. But often these fare schedules are put in a place that's difficult to see. The problem is, if they do have a fare schedule and they are operating a meter in that situation, it's actually legal. That's the problem. We think that the legislation is wrong.
So what they're doing, Warren, is actually illegal or legal under the law at the moment?
If they have a fare schedule and
it's
that's
legal.
displayed, and they're operating a type of meter that's calculating the distance and time, that is in fact illegal. It's about whether or not how much the passenger knows about this, and we just think it's extremely poor actually.
That's very like one couple said the one that said they were blatantly ripped off. They noticed that the driver wasn't displaying his small passenger service license. So is it a requirement for all everyone, taxi, shuttles, Uber?
Yeah,
these independent operators have all got to display it.
That's the photo ID that needs to be displayed in the vehicle with a picture of the driver, and it will have his unique identification name or number on there. Yes, they all have to be displayed so that passengers can see it clearly. They should be operating with cameras if they pick them up from the street off a taxi stand and the like. We find that regulation is abused a lot from these.
Oh, okay. So they've all got to have cameras as well.
They do. If they're picking up off taxi stands or outside arenas or concerts, stadiums, they're all supposed to have these. Yep, that's right.
Warren, the NZTA said that if you think you're being unfairly charged or to contact the taxi firm directly, but how many people would really do that? I mean, complaints are time consuming, right, and cumbersome, and you never get through to anyone.
Even if they try to, that is impossible. Part of the regulations that disappeared in 2017 was a lot around identification of the taxi. So what company they belong to, what tab number they would belong to. Out of all these complaints, I've only ever had one person been able to track down the driver, which is, for an independent, they are effectively the manager. And only one person had any sort of luck in doing that. So that makes it absolutely impossible for them to try and take anything to the disputes tribunal.